Dais has an announcement to make. At the end of session 3, we will announce the 3 Frontime Awards that we have created for this conference. Question?
Yes.
It does not matter. Just 3 representatives from each committee. The best judge delegates will be selected as the nominees. And it's up for the international committee to decide which delegates would represent the committee. So it's really based on the vote. So yeah, that's that for the announcement. Before we begin with the roll call, the DICE is going to announce amendments to the technology policy for this session. We will not tolerate any use of smartphones or mobile watches during the session and during the session only. Additionally, any connection to the internet will be restricted heavily during this session. However, delegates are encouraged to use laptops or tablets to write their working papers or journal solutions. Turkey and Brunei. The speakers list is now closed. Qatar, you're up next. Please attend the podium. This microphone. Delegate, try to place your laptop on the side panels and not directly on the screen. Thank you. Excuse me? Yeah, of course.
Assalamu alaikum, fellow delegates. Yesterday, a bomb detonated in Guangzhou at approximately 5:40 p.m., killing and injuring over 150,000 civilians. This crisis demands our full immediate attention and action. Yeah, we must not speculation around this council, and we must especially not put any fingers, especially at the United States. We lack concrete evidence and until an impartial investigation led by the UN to determine the truth, assigning blame will only fuel tensions and risk further conflict. We must consider all possibilities, including whether it may have been an accident, an attack by a non-active state such as a terrorist group, or something more deliberate. Whatever it may be, the perpetrator must face massive repercussions. Qatar would like to urge all member states to provide financial aid and humanitarian support to the people of China and conduct a thorough investigation into the bombing. Thank you. I would like to give my time for the next speakers.
Thank you.
Papua New Guinea is deeply saddened to hear the recent bombings in Guangzhou yesterday evening. We stand by the citizens in China in their loss, both economically and in lives, and would like to offer assistance so we can support and maintain our relations with China. Papua New Guinea has no active suspicions at the moment and is waiting for the answer from the International Court for further actions. In the case that the U.S. is found guilty, well, if any country, Papua New Guinea would like to say that no matter the circumstances, there are no justifications for bombing.
Thank you. The Russian Federation strongly condemns the horrific bombing that is a brutal act that has taken innocent lives and shaken a sovereign nation. We extend our deepest condolences to the victims and their families, and we stand in solidarity with the People's Republic of China during this moment of grief. But condolences are alone not enough. This tragedy demands accountability. Acts of terror do not occur in a vacuum. There are those who fund, those who shelter, and those who incite violence. The international community must not only condemn terrorism, but must hold those responsible to account. Nations that enable extremist groups, whether through inaction or direct support, must face the consequences. The responsibility of this council is clear. We must act decisively. Russia calls for stronger intelligence sharing, stricter counterterrorism measures, and targeted actions against those who facilitate extremism. We must disrupt terrorist financing, dismantle recruitment networks, and ensure that justice is served. Failure to act out is complicity. The Russian Federation, thank you. Your time has elapsed. Next, New Zealand.
regular bombs.
Do we have any more information on who the perpetrators might be?
The DICE does not understand what you exactly mean by regular bombs, but it was a fatal bomb that killed hundreds of thousands. And yes, it has happened.
Okay, there are types of bombs which can be highly destructive and where it's in high destructive.
We just want to
So we just want to know what kind of bomb it is.
No. We
Well,
just want to know is there any more information on
It certainly wasn't a bath bomb. And it was a military bomb. And in terms of whether or not if it was nuclear, according to the damages, it is suspected that it's not any sort of nuclear device. So we hope that answers your question. Yes?
Is it actually proven that it was a bomb?
It is being investigated and it's up for the international committee to prove it. Yes? That count? Let me clarify. For now, it is 150,000 registered casualties, not including injured. Yes? That's New Zealand's motion for 20 minutes instead of 15. Any other points or motions? Okay, the floor is... The DICE team will now take the floor to set an agenda for today's session. The agenda is that the DICE encourages the International Committee to resolve on the matter of yesterday regarding spillage in the South Asian Sea and the recent tragic events of the bombing in Guangzhou City. So the agenda states that by the end of session 1, draft resolutions must be presented in regards of these two matters and these two matters only. Yes.
draft resolutions for both issues?
They are classified as, yes, both issues, as these draft resolutions will be in regards of the tensions between the United States and China regarding the South Asian Sea. And the DICE committee highly suspects that the recent matters that has happened in Guangzhou City is related to the ongoing tensions between the US and China regarding the South Asian Sea. Therefore, we will take one draft resolution from each box. That is up for the International Committee to discuss. However, the draft resolution's main objective is to resolve the tensions between these nations. That answers your question. And we will now proceed to voting. The floor is now closed. We will vote from least disruptive to most disruptive. Qatar's motion under the topic of recent bombing of Guangzhou City, time for 10 to 1. All those in favor, please. This motion clearly passes. Qatar, would you like to go first or last on the speakers list? Qatar first. Delegate, please wait for the speakers list to collapse first. This is not an open debate. United States second. Indonesia third. Australia fourth. Papua New Guinea fifth. Pakistan. Russia. New Zealand. We will take 2 more delegations on the speakers list.
Your time starts now.
The delegation in New Zealand believes that we should not point our fingers at any country, and instead, we should investigate this thoroughly in order to not increase tensions and prevent any conflicts or worse, wars. This has been tragedy for the entire global community due to the hundreds of thousands of innocent lives being lost in this conflict. In the end, we should take this opportunity to remind ourselves of the goal of the United Nations General Assembly, which is to find a multilateral solution for global issues. This bombing should further convince us to collaborate to punish those who are responsible for its massacre. New Zealand gives its sincere apologies for China, Guangzhou, and we would like to ask every country that is present here to work towards a solution.
Alright, Daga, how would you like to end your time? Thank you, Daga. Turkey.
Delegates, we will not, once when your timer starts, once again 10 seconds before your timer ends, and twice when your timer ends.
Alright, Daga, your time starts now.
Chair and distinguished delegates, the Republic of Turkey stands deeply concerned over the escalating crisis in the South Asian Sea. Now intensified by the tragic bombing in Guangzhou, this act of violence threatens regional stability and global security. While the United States is the primary suspect, Turkey urges restraint and calls for an independent investigation to ensure justice is served based on evidence, not assumption. Turkey will provide support and aid to China in response to this tragedy. The actions without verified facts will only deepen the crisis. Turkey reaffirms its commitment to peace, diplomacy, and international law. At this critical moment, let us not act on suspicion, but on truth. Turkey stands ready to work with the global community to uphold justice and state.
Thank you, Daga. Your time has elapsed. Renee. Alright, Daga, your time starts now.
Dear delegates, Brunei suspects attack is influenced by USA based on two main reasons. First of all, USA stated that there is no good reason for USA to attack China. However, we believe China is economically powerful country, and the main reason many small countries is fearing to oppose against China is their economic power, and therefore USA is trying to decrease China's economic power and political influence for other countries. Second of all, USA has also a powerful economic and political that could protect other small countries, and we believe if the USA is the not country who attacked China, then their ally is the one who attacked them. Brunei, as a partner of China, Brunei is concerned about the possible danger in our region. Thank you.
Thank you, Daga.
Lies of the accusators. We call upon any nation accusing us of this action to come up with solid proof, satellite imagery, anything to connect us to these bombings. Second, there is no rational motive behind these attacks. The US risks geopolitical suicide by conducting these attacks. It makes absolutely no sense for us to do these attacks. Third, we are willing to work with China in order to find the real perpetrators of this attack. As I mentioned before, and as my role yesterday and today, the US is the big brother of the world. We cannot stand and watch any country get bullied by unknown nations. We are willing to help China and any country that gets bullied. Yesterday, the topic was a big country such as China bullying small countries. So we help the small countries. Now China is the small country being bullied. We are willing to work together with China in order to solve this problem. And I'm giving the mic over to my other delegate.
I'm hereby to present you that why USA couldn't have done any bombings on Guangzhou. It does not have any rhetorical methods that we should attack Guangzhou, because Guangzhou is one of our biggest importers that we import shoes, clothes, branded things from Guangzhou. And it does not make any sense to attack our biggest exporter. Second of all, is that this is an act of terrorism. If it was an airstrike, the Chinese air defense system is too incredible to not predict any threat. If the Chinese sea force, the Chinese naval base is too incredible not to miss out on any incoming threats that could have from the United States of America. And we have the delegation of the United States of America would like to remind you that the UN was designed by the United States of America to keep the world in peace. It does not make any sense why would that such a sovereign nation with any reason. Thank you.
We would like to add on to the point that it seems every country, every member state in this conference hall today, other than Indonesia, Pakistan, and Brunei, agreed that there is no solid proof connecting the United States to this attack. Thank you.
Alright, then delegate Australia.
Alright, honorable delegates, the world stands before at the dangerous crossroads. Evidence suggests that US technology was used on the attack of China. And does that prove guilt? Absolutely not. In today's world, technology can be hacked, or stolen, or misused, or manipulated. China, being the biggest cyber bully in the warfare, has the power to fabricate digital traits and also frame adversaries and control the narrative. So, this is not just about the US, this is about the truth. And if we accept the accusations without questioning the source, we set a percentage where any nation can be framed, any war can be justified, and also any lie can become reality. So who truly benefits from this crisis? Who gains the turn of the world against the US? These questions must be answered before the judgment is passed. We demand on independent national investigation, one free from manipulation or political agendas. The world cannot afford reckless blame. Truth must prevail over deception. Let this be a warning. Misinformation is the real weapon of war, and we will not let it destroy peace. Thank you.
Alright, then delegate New Zealand.
Is what Australia said true? Like it's US tech?
It's up to the international law and like international community to decide that. It's all up to the ICC.
So it's not proven.
Hearing the every previous country's statements, the delegation of New Zealand states that we should not judge anything without any solid evidence, and it's possible that any country here present right now could have done that bombing. And we have a solution that we should have a UN investigation to find out who's responsible and serve justice through an international court of justice. And secondly, the delegation of New Zealand would like to talk about the oil spillage. The oil spillage is caused by China due to, in 2014, China created an oil spillage near the islands, and obviously there is no other oil mining technology near that place, so it will be safe to conclude that China was the one who caused them, and the delegation of New Zealand would like to ask China to respond to this statement.
Alright, think about it. Indonesia.
escalation of USA has always played the victim in such scenarios and will still likely to increase.
Alright, thank you, delegates. South Korea. Delegates, please refrain from using personal pronouns.
Could the logistics team meet the dice here? Logistics team, please.
Accepted.
Logistics team.
Dear delegates, South Korea believes that China is blaming other countries for their own damage to draw away attention from the current issue regarding the oil spillage in the sea. At this critical moment, South Korea calls for a neutral, potentially under the United Nations or an international investigative body to ensure credibility and prevent misinformation from escalating hostilities. The international community must remain committed to conflict prevention rather than resorting to blame games that could further divide nations. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Tar.
As of recent, there have been multiple nations who have accused the United States as a perpetrator of yesterday's bombing, from things such as economic rain to irrelevant points such as 9/11 and the invasion of the Middle East. However, these are claims with no ground. Qatar not only condemned the attacks, but we also condemn allegations against a nation with no concrete evidence. We suggest the delegation of Brunei to bring up evidence before the International Court of Justice before making such egregious claims. Furthermore, geopolitically, as the United States have mentioned, this move will not be smart for the United States. Why would the United States risk a war against another superpower, which could cause further strain against the West and Chinese allies? Qatar still doesn't understand the claims made by the Brunei government. Economic aid is also not on the table due to the fact that China is an economic.
Delegates, based on the last statement I made that the US used technology to bomb the China, let's examine the facts that this is not true and this is not proven evidence. So China controls vast cyber surveillance networks and has repeatedly been accused of hacking into foreign systems.
Thank you, delegates. The time for this motion has elapsed.
The floor is now open. Vietnam.
It is confirmed the bomb used is US tech. Crisis now.
We'll just take your seats now. A crisis update is officially announced. Yes.
Who was verified?
The source of this information is disclosed.
There are usually revenues from the bomb.
The committee directors recommend that the United Kingdom asks their own internal special forces or bomb experts that question instead of the committee dies. Thank you.
Another tier one?
Yes.
Is the claim made by China or is it made by the US? Who said that the date is this?
It is unclear where that claim came from, but the factual evidence is that it is confirmed that the bomb used is US technology. Do you have a point of inquiry? Proceeding to voting sessions. That is in order. We will now vote from least disruptive to most disruptive. Vietnam's motion for extension 10 minutes. All those in favor? This motion fails. Australia's motion for extension 15 minutes. All those in favor? This motion clearly passes. Australia. Due to the current demand, we will conduct the speakers list.
Alright, as I was saying, as the delegation of Australia was saying, based on the last statement we made, it has been proven that the US tech was used on the bombs, and we said that the US technology being used in the bombs doesn't necessarily mean that the US bombed China. And let's examine the facts. China controls vast cyber surveillance networks and has repeatedly been accused of hacking into the foreign systems. and also, including the US, government agencies and defense networks. In 2021, cybersecurity firms uncovered that Chinese state-backed hacking groups breaching Western infrastructure and proving their capability of infiltrate and manipulate data. If they can breach US intelligence, what stops them from stealing or modifying or deploying American technologies to serve their own agenda? Let us say this again. Misinformation is the real weapon of the war, and we will not let it destroy peace. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We will conduct the speakers list of 10 now. Vietnam, Philippines, China, the United States, Indonesia, Greece, United Kingdom, Turkey, Papua New Guinea, Malaysia, we are afraid the speakers list is now closed, but it may open again. Okay, Australia has just spoken and it is Vietnam's turn. The next speaker, Philippines, please be ready.
Delegation of Vietnam would like to inform other countries that Chinese cities have problems against Guangzhou due to cultural, political, and economic disputes and conflicts. So the Vietnam suspects the other Chinese cities or civil organizations to have strengthened the Guangzhou residents. The USA has no logical reason to bomb Guangzhou. China has spilled oil in the South Asian Sea, which will cause other countries such as Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia to attack China and make them pay back the damage they have caused. So China may have thought of this to avoid dealing with the consequences they caused. So bombing Guangzhou opposes human rights, and Vietnam sends condolences to the residents that have lost their lives, but the oil spilling has caused fishing and tourism industry to decrease rapidly, which proves that China is not fit to keep the 9-line. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolga. Next up is Philippines.
Please send it to the co-chair's email. Yes, draft resolution. To remind the delegates again, the agenda for this session is to finish drafting today's resolution regarding yesterday's event, the oil spillage, and the recent tragic bombings in the Guangzhou city. No more point of inquiries. Session continues. Next speaker, please.
So for years, the South China Sea has been a flashpoint of rising military tension between China and the United States. Repeated American provocations, including unauthorized naval patrols, military exercises, and the arming of regional actors, have created an environment of instability and confrontation. Despite China's repeated calls for diplomatic resolution and despite for territorial sovereignty, the United States has consistently escalated military activity in the region, increasing the risk of conflict. Today, we are witnessing the catastrophic consequences of this reckless aggression. Let us be clear, this attack comes at a time when China's influence and economic power in the Asia-Pacific region have been growing. The United States, facing strategic decline, has long viewed China's rise as a threat to its dominance. If confirmed, which is this crisis is confirmed that they use their own technology, which is very unlikely to be utilized by other countries. So this attack would represent an extreme but calculated effort to destabilize China's military and economic position in the region. By targeting Guangzhou, which is a critical hub of industry and commerce, the United States seeks to undermine China's economic strength and its strategic influence in Asia. Therefore, the United States has to be kept accountable for these actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. USA.
Greetings to the delegates that are here to undermine the situation about the Guangzhou bombing. The crisis has denoted that the US technology was confirmed to be used on the Guangzhou bombing. However, we have fought on various grounds to defend their nationalities, protect them from terrorists throughout the country. The biggest example is the Taliban. We have fought against ISIS, especially Osama bin Laden, to counter their terrorism, and we have left our military expansions and technologies there because it is cheaper to it's cheaper to manufacture new products than transport them to our own country. Second of all, once again, the delegation of the United States of America would like to remind that this is an act of terrorism. The Chinese air defense system is too incredible to not take any weapons that could have been from the United States of America. And Guangzhou is one of our biggest importers. There is no reason, there is no logical reason to attack Guangzhou since it is our biggest economical importer. And the Chinese military operations between the sea. Diplomatic issues have been resolved, but we have always operated within Philippines exclusive economic zone, which is 250 nautical miles from the line. So the delegation of the United States of America does not see a reason to be aggressive about this behavior.
Thank you to my other delegate. Now, as the delegate of the United States, we would like to say that even though many member states are in support of the U.S.,
delegates, please do not exploit your privilege of double delegation, okay?
Many member states are in support of the U.S. and agree that we could not have caused the attack. Some nations still seem to be pushing for the point that the U.S. has repeatedly been known for playing the victim in history. We have never ever played the victim in history. In fact, we have a long tradition in helping victims in every war/conflict. Now, addressing the new crisis though, the U.S. bomb being used doesn't necessarily correlate us to the attack. We would like to highlight the fact that we are a huge exporter of military weaponry, such as guns and bombs. Any nation close to China could have conducted these attacks. We feel sympathy for China, so we're willing to work together with China to find the real nation or organization that conducted these attacks. With the world superpowers hand in hand, we fully believe that we can find the real perpetrators with no issue. And responding to the statements that China made, we have zero military in the South China Sea region. We've stated this like 30 times yesterday, and this delegate has said this today as well. This is completely inaccurate information. This is another form of Chinese propaganda. Thank you.
Vice President.
Brenton.
So, as from yesterday, we have announced that the US has 9 military bases in 50